Don't you think it's amazing that we found such a sophisticated way to communicate and that we're able to put our thoughts on paper or on the internet? I think it's fascinating. But when it comes to following a to-do list or some kind of life goals bucket list, be it becoming a professional athlete, simply washing the dishes, or saving the environment, how can we possibly write it down and go towards it intensely and without ever looking back? Well, my friend, this is exactly where my quest to achieve my biggest dreams started. Today, I'm unveiling 5 pieces of knowledge that made me go from writing unchecked to-do lists to achieve every single one of them, so you too can learn to outmaneuver resistance without having to waste 10 years of your life trying to figure it out. Before starting, here's a quick fact. That's the backbone of achieving more. Having big dreams sometimes feel like having to climb a big mountain. Don't you think? Do you know why? Because it is. I'm sorry to break it up to you, but if our biggest dreams were not hard or complex to fulfill, it would not be remarkable, and it wouldn't bring you the satisfaction that you're seeking, because everyone else would replicate it. The quest towards achieving more is one about discovering our own limits instead of stagnating in our comfort zone. So brace yourselves, because we're about to go into part 1. Part 1. Commit. I'll assume that you already watched my previous episode that goes over how to find purpose. So now that you have all your goals written down, I take a moment to really commit to them. This can take many different forms. On my end, I tend to print out my self-made project plan and fill it out completely, which gives me clarity and motivation towards achieving it. The most basic way to replicate that is to take a sheet of paper and simply write your goal, a motivation for it, and also a deadline. You can also get the template I'm using by following the link in the description down below. To make it even more official, I usually inform most of my loved ones about this new adventure that I'm undertaking. This brings accountability because they will be interested in how the things develop in my goals, and it will fuel our discussions and also my thoughts. Part 2. Slice. Now that you're officially on track with your goals, I want you to slice them into 2 different activities, like so. To become healthy, I would need to move my body well, and I would also need to eat well. To become a guitarist, I would need to play notes, chords, scales. I would need to read sheet music, have a good speed, and also a good technique. There is really no bad answers here. The goal of having only 2 to 10 different activities is to have a clear understanding of how to improve without overcomplicating the process with thousands of possible options. At the end of the day, you will have a maximum of 10 different activities that you can use to improve in every single one of your goals. Before going into part 3, please like and subscribe to make sure that you don't miss any upcoming episodes. It also helps me a ton to grow on YouTube. Thank you so much. Let's go into part 3. Part 3. Trace. For each of your goals, I want you to trace a line. For example, if one of my goals was to climb the Everest, on the line, I would do something like this. The starting point is at 0 meters of altitude, and the highest point, which is the peak, would be at 8,849 meters of altitude. Now I want you to estimate your current capacity to climb the Everest. On my part, if I'm not mistaken, I think I could probably reach about 700 meters of altitude. So it would put me around here. As you can see, for some goals, it can be very empowering to know where we are located. So it doesn't really feel like we're starting at the bottom of the ladder. For other goals, it can make us realize that there is a big challenge ahead of us. And that's a good thing, or else we would have to face deception because of our high hopes. Part 4. Prioritize. Between you and me, the only goals that I have not started yet are the ones that I have not prioritized. Listen, I know how it feels like to be a dreamer. I get plenty of different project ideas I'd like to start every single week. But I learned that having 2 to 3 different aims in life is what works best for me, and this gives me the most interesting and steady progress. Make sure to remember those priorities every single day. If, for example, you spend way too much time during lunch, watching YouTube videos, and even after you finish your meal, you still keep watching the video for hours on end, you can simply start an alarm clock when you start your meal that reminds you that you have priorities outside of this mindless loop. Going to bed, as well as starting the day by remembering those priorities, are also great ways to stay on track. Part 5. Document. This strategy is probably the main reason why I was able to become so much more mindful in my everyday life. Documenting is very powerful. A good rule of thumb is that low amounts of documentation is better than no documentation. It comes in many different forms, but here are the 3 form factors that were the most beneficial for me. The journal is the ultimate documenting tool. It's not for everyone, but anyone can benefit from trying to start one. I could also produce an in-depth video that goes over the steps I take to make the process as efficient as possible. Let me know in the comment section if you want to learn more about this topic. The second tool is a habit tracker. By using this one, it's really easy to see if you're sticking to your new disciplines or if you lack intention towards them. You can follow the Pareto rule, 80-20, to avoid putting unnecessary pressure on yourself. The last tool is a simple to-do list. You decide between 2 to 10 tasks. I started using these as ways to gain mental clarity on what needed to be done. I fell into the trap of simply documenting those without ever achieving them. But I found a system that works wonders. Here is how it goes. You start by writing the date on top of the list. You decide on 2 to 10 tasks. You then proceed to accomplish one of them. Not 2, not 9, just 1. An extra tip here is to start with the one that gets you as far away from your comfort zone as possible. After doing this one task, you may proceed on another one, or you can do anything else that you'd like. This is how you slowly evaluate where you are on the scale of productivity and regarding task completion. If you were able to achieve 1 or 2 of them, aim for 3 the next day instead of writing a whole list of 10. If you were able to achieve 6 of them, make sure that you write down 7 or 8 on the next day. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel if you want to learn more about those topics. I'll see you next week.